You got to grab those young players off the waiver wire when they hit. When they start flashing, you got to be aggressive with them. You got to pick them up. And just to see what happens, just to see if this is a long-term thing, because you never know. We've seen this numerous times throughout the years. We'll see a guy off the waiver wire just hit week 1, week 2, and it's a good season. We've also seen guys flip and flop throughout the year as well, just be volatile, but you never know. That's why you need to shoot for upside at the back end of your roster. That way you have a drag on your portfolio to where you can turn and burn, and then maybe you can catch that league-winning player off the waiver wire. And we might have one already, and we're looking at Puka Nacua, wide receiver of the Rams. Blew up last week, and he was very productive. Saw the targets rain on him, catching balls. One of the top storylines going into week 2 of the fantasy football season. Everybody's looking to catch him off waivers. Everybody's trying to get him. He's a Pokemon that you're trying to catch right now. And since he was looking good, we're going to go over him. But before we do, you have to click that subscribe button. Give it a click with the mouse. Tap it with the finger on your phone. Stop missing out on these deep dives, because we're looking at these players from a deeper perspective so you can get an idea of who they are and whether or not you want to go after them. This You Need series is telling you whether you need this player or not, and it's off the information. And we go over almost all the players each week on the waiver wire from an individual standpoint, a la carte style, so you don't have to sit through a whole video of a bunch of jabronis when you just want to hear about 1 or 2 dudes from the waiver wire that you're looking at. So hit that subscribe button, give it a good look, and win your league this year, because that's what I want to help you do. But let's take a look at this. Puka Nacua, 15 targets, 40% target share. Unheard of from a rookie in their first game, especially a late-round rookie. Something we got to be interested in. Also, 144 air yards, one of the tops in the league in air yards this week. And Tyreek Hill was the top wide receiver with over 200 air yards. I did not look at the Monday night game, but I'm pretty sure Hill won the air yards battle of the week. But looking here at Puka Nacua, 21.9 PPR fantasy points. If you started him in DFS, he probably got you some money if the rest of your lineup was legit, because he was a cheap guy to acquire. And he was a guy in the back end of drafts that we were looking at looking at picking up off the waiver wire due to the situation here. Cooper Kupp being out. He's going to be out a few more weeks, and when or if he comes back will impact the distribution of targets here, because he's not going to see a 40% target share. Not even the elite wide receivers see that from week to week, but he has earned a role. He has earned a role, and most of his snaps were on the outside. That means he can live with Cooper Kupp and be good. He can have that opportunity. I would not expect this every week. I would definitely not expect this every week, but I would expect him to see a large amount of snaps, a large amount of opportunity, and just looking at the receiving production here, man, 15 targets, 119 yards. I want to talk about Tutu Atwell as well. He was getting a lot of work as well. He was productive in college. He's got speed to burn. He's a guy you want to have on the map as well if you can't get Puka Nacua, because he's going to get some workload in this offense as well, especially when the game script looks like we saw last week. Tutu Atwell is the guy you want to look at. Puka Nacua, though, he's a late-round rookie, but he had some injuries throughout his collegiate career. He was productive throughout his collegiate career. Really came on during the Senior Bowl. That's when we really start to see him go off. That's when we knew against that top-tier competition, he was good to go. And even in the highlights in the tape, ball skills for days, and we saw that yesterday. And the run game, they're going to have to throw it. They're going to have to throw it. Kyron Williams, 15 carries, 52 yards. Cam Akers, 22 carries, 29 yards. There'll be game scripts where they can run the ball a lot better. That'll happen. But they're going to be looking to the passing game, especially when Kupp comes back. That's going to help them ease back to the passing game, help them want to throw it more, especially with Nacua hitting. You got Tutu Atwell looking good. You got the three-headed monster, that wide receiver. That's just going to make them want to throw the ball more from looking at this perspective. When you're looking at a run game that gave you this production and you're looking at your rookie wide receiver, you're looking at Tutu Atwell, you know you're getting Cooper Kupp back. You're probably going to look at these game scripts here and be like, yeah, we're just going to sling it. And we're just going to throw short passes as a run game. Let's do that. That's going to help Puka Nacua. I look for this team to throw the ball a lot this year. And just giving you a heads up on Cooper Kupp, injured reserve. It's going to be out a few more weeks, maybe even longer. We got to monitor his status. We've already talked about that. But Puka Nacua should have a large role in this offense for at least a few more weeks. But I feel like he can eat with Cooper Kupp. To what extent, we don't know. And we don't know if this is going to happen again or if this is going to be volatile. We've seen Greg Dortch pop off with weeks like this, and it was off and on. So you got to really be calm, but you also got to be aggressive because you don't know if this is going to be a long-term thing. This could be a game-to-game thing. This really could be, because he does have ball skills, and he does have Matt Stafford, who does not care. He is a honey badger of quarterbacks. He will sling it to you. He will fit it in there, and that's what we saw on Sunday. That is what we saw on Sunday, and I would just be aggressive. That's why we draft the way we do with our last few picks. We shoot for upside, and we want to turn and burn with the waiver wire. This is one of the reasons why. That way you don't have that icky, iffy feeling. Should I do this? Should I do that? Should I do this? Should I do that? You're ready to turn and burn today. Puka Nacua, looking at him as a prospect, 5th round pick, fell in the draft, day 3 guy, 6'2", 210. He has the requisite size of being the wide receiver one on the outside or the perimeter boundary guy, depending on how you look at wide receiver depth charts. But Nacua has this opportunity here just to be the outside guy, get those deep targets, win on those one-on-one situations. The load's going to be lightened too when Kupp comes back because they got to account for him as well. He's going to be commanding targets out of the slot and moving them around like they do. Nacua on the outside could feast a little bit in some matchups and some situations, so you want to look at that. Looking at the athletic specs here, good enough to get the job done, and we saw that on Sunday. You do not want to deep dive this and break your brain too much when you look at athleticism specs. 4.62 for a wide receiver, although it's not a 4.3 or a 4.4, it's good enough to get the job done. We've seen plenty of wide receivers do it. Look at Cooper Kupp. He did it as well. Speed score decent. He's already hit. He's already proven he could do it. Let's move on from there. But we have a good breakout age per dominator rating at 19 years old. Good college dominator as well. Good college target share. So good production metrics, good workload metrics at the college level. And then looking at his counting stats here at the top, he caught 48 balls last year, 625 yards, 44 balls the year prior, 805 yards. Remember, he was dealing through injuries off and on throughout his collegiate career. 3.53 yards per out ran, second best among wide receivers in college football last year with a 12 average depth of target. Solid. Deep ball city going his way. 16.7 the year prior, 3.44 yards per route ran. Solid. The yards after the catch a little bit lower, but that's because he's getting deep balls. Deep balls means you're getting those jump balls thrown your way. You jump up, you catch it, and you get brought down. So the opportunity for yak is a little bit decreased there. So don't look into that metric too much for a wide receiver that plays at this style. But you're looking at a guy who can win on the outside, has the size to do so, can get an A-dot, and can win downfield. He can win downfield with excellent ball skills and decent route running. The schedule here, the Niners, that's going to be a scary matchup. We saw what they did to the Steelers. That's going to be scary to see. That's not going to be fun to watch. But if this game script gets out of hand, the Niners can push the pace, and they might be playing from behind, and the Rams might have to throw it. And that might mean some fantasy points for Puka. Again, Bengals, Colts, Eagles, I think those are all flexible game scripts that anything can happen, and those are weeks away. And we want to see what happens with injuries and everything else as we move forward looking at that. But again, I see some opportunity here down the line, and I think this offense is looking to throw the football. You need him because you like what you saw and you want a piece of that. You want this production. You're hurting at wide receiver. You drafted a ton of running backs in the start of your draft. You're a little bit light at wide receiver. You lost Deontay Johnson or something. And you need to patch this position up. Also, you want those young players that are hitting. He's a guy you need to just grab if you can get him. You just grab him if you can get him and see what happens. And if he flops later down the road, you just release him. Catch and release. Catch and release. You don't need him because you don't think he'll do it again. And the Greg Dortch effect, like I said earlier, we've seen young players pop off before throughout the season and then just go back to normal, regress. But getting a 40% target share is rare. That is a rare thing, and it's something you want to chase from week to week. That's why we have a drag in our portfolio, so we can make those moves, and that's why we do it. We want to make those moves, see what happens, catch and release, turn and burn, whatever you want to say. That way, we're aggressive on the waiver wire. The main thing I want to stress out here is when a young player like this does something, a rookie, a second-year player, when they go off instantly, you want to attack quick. You want to get them on your team, and even if it doesn't work out for the long term, there are instances throughout life in football where these young players who were not sought after during the draft process hit for the long term big time, and now you got a league-winning player on your team, and you want those lottery tickets. That's why we're set up in a way through our draft with our last few roster spots where we just flip it and rip it, and we see what happens, and that's why you need to subscribe to this channel, because I'm going to go over all the waiver wire players one by one and in full videos as a normal video would do. That way you don't have to sit through a whole video waiting for one or two guys. You can just click this video, see if you need them or not, and move on with your day. But Puka Nacua looked good in his first week, has some things in his college profile, a guy you need to be interested in redraft for, and fits well in 12-team leagues, 10-team leagues. See what you want to do. Look at your roster, see if you can fit him. But let me know what you think in the comments below. When you hear about it, make sure you hit that subscribe button on the way out. Catch you in the next video.